Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Finally, the new Straw Hat crew member, and in today's video, you'll find out who might be joining Luffy. But first, you've got to comment who you want on the crew. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Let's start with Marco. This guy's been through a lot in life, and even so, he's still standing, doing his part. He was always Whitebeard's right-hand man, and after the old man passed, Marco kind of became everyone's big brother. In Wano, he showed up with no obligation at all, put himself on the front lines, held off enemies, and still backed up those who needed help. All because he believes Whitebeard's legacy can still live on somehow. And honestly, that kind of spirit is super Straw Hat. Marco doesn't fight for power, he fights for people. That kind of energy fits perfectly with Luffy's crew. Plus, Luffy has a track record of attracting big names who've already had their own epic journeys and are now searching for a new purpose. Marco could be that heavyweight member, the wise one, the mentor, who gives advice when needed, but still respects Luffy's free spirit. He'd fit right in as a battle medic, someone to help Chopper and expand the crew's strategic options. Then we've got Katakuri. Man, if there's anyone who made us eat our words, it was him. Luffy's fight against Katakuri back in Whole Cake Island is one of the most iconic in the entire manga, and it changed him. But do you know who else changed during that fight? Katakuri himself. He started off thinking Luffy was just another reckless brat and ended the battle respecting him as an equal. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. And now that pudding is in Blackbeard's hands, there's a good chance Katakuri might take action on his own. And if there's one thing Oda loves, it's throwing together unlikely allies to take on greater threats. Depending on what Blackbeard does to Pudding, Katakuri could end up teaming up with Luffy more directly, especially if he realizes that Luffy isn't just strong enough to take on villains, but also compassionate enough to protect those who need it. And we can't forget about Kid. Yeah, I know, he and Luffy have always had that playful rivalry, like, you're strong, but I'm stronger. But let's be real, Kid's been through hell. He went up against Shanks and got wrecked, not because he lacked guts, but because the odds were just insane. And that's exactly the kind of thing Luffy respects, courage. If Kid ever realizes that siding with Luffy makes more sense than constantly fighting against the current, he could totally become a permanent ally. And if that happens, Kid would bring a whole new dynamic to the crew. He's aggressive, blunt, explosive. He'd contrast with Luffy's impulsive but emotional style. Together, they could be unstoppable if they learn to sync up. And let's be honest, Luffy's proven he can vibe with even the most unpredictable people. Now let's talk about Law. This guy is basically an honorary Straw Hat at this point. From Dressrosa to Wano, he's shared more screen time with Luffy than anyone else. And if you look closely, the trust between them has grown massively. Law is strategic, smart, and understands how dangerous the world really is. But now that Blackbeard's captured Bepo and Law's gone missing, it's not hard to imagine him reappearing with a more drastic decision, like officially joining forces with Luffy, not just as a temporary ally, but as part of the final mission. Law isn't the type to join a crew for fun, but maybe, just maybe, he'll realize that being with Luffy is the only way to truly take down the system he's always hated. And finally, Boa Hancock. What an insane character, one of the most powerful women out there, and she has a level of admiration, okay love, for Luffy that's borderline hilarious, but also totally sincere. Hancock has never bowed to anyone, but with Luffy, it's different. And now that she's been attacked by Blackbeard and things are heating up, maybe she'll stop staying on the sidelines and go fight alongside the one person she trusts. Hancock would bring raw power, charisma, and a whole new dimension to the crew. And let's be honest, she'd represent a new kind of connection, a strong, respected woman fighting shoulder to shoulder with Luffy for something bigger. Of course, there are plenty of other names we could throw out, but these are the ones that really make the most sense in the current story. Each of them has a real reason to get closer to Luffy. And more than that, they all have the kind of past that tends to draw Luffy in. People who've already faced the world, lost a lot, and now want to start over. Maybe that's what really defines a Straw Hat. It's not just about strength or adventure. It's about finding a new home in the middle of chaos. And when you look at these characters, Marco, Katakuri, Kid, Law, Hancock, it's pretty clear they're all searching for that in one way or another. At least, that's what I think. Now just imagine, Marco joins the crew as a kind of celestial navigator. The guy who flies high, who's seen things most people would lose their minds over. He knows how the world works behind the scenes and would be insanely useful in aerial combat, rescue missions, surprise attacks, or any situation where quick healing could save a life. On top of that, he'd be like a second mentor to Chopper, boosting the crew's medical capabilities and showing that knowledge can be just as powerful as a well-placed hockey blow. And don't forget, Marco can fly. Luffy needs someone who can literally reach the skies, because sometimes not even Gear 5 will be enough. Then there's Katakuri. Put this guy on the ship and the whole dynamic shifts. He's the kind of character who even the craziest villains respect. His observation hockey is almost supernatural, which would open up a whole new layer of navigation and combat tactics. Robin would love working with someone who can see what's coming. Sanji, of course, would give him a hard time. Zoro would probably want to fight him just for fun. But Luffy would just laugh and welcome him aboard. Plus, Katakuri could bring Tatoland sweets, which, let's be real, is crucial for Luffy. And if he joins, maybe the rest of Big Mom's crew, or what's left of it, might chill out, or even join the final battle. And Kid, probably the most hard-headed of the bunch, could fill a role the crew doesn't currently have. Someone who challenges the captain. Luffy's always been surrounded by people who deeply respect him, even when he's being reckless. Kid would be the guy who doesn't just go along with everything, who questions, who pushes back, but still fights alongside the crew. That kind of dynamic would force the crew to evolve, because having a rival on board means you can't stay stagnant. And don't underestimate his magnetism. That power could be a game changer in battles against tech-heavy foes like the Pacifistas, Vegapunk's creations, or Saturn. Kid's a force of nature, and sometimes a wild lightning bolt is exactly what a storm needs. And what about Law? That's where we get into planning, into the mind. With him, the ship wouldn't just be chaotic anymore. It'd have tactics, infiltration, surgical strategies. Robin would absolutely see Law as the perfect research partner. The two of them reading poneglyphs and coming up with plans together? Incredible. Law understands the D, he knows the weight that name carries, and he could help Luffy understand it too. Especially since Luffy himself doesn't care much. Luffy is all heart. Law is all calculation. Together, they're balance. And Law's room, one of the most overpowered abilities in the entire series. In the final battle, having Law nearby might be what decides who lives and who doesn't. And then there's her, Boa Hancock, maybe the most emotional link between all these names. She fights for love, and that's not a weakness. It's one of the most powerful forces there is. Just imagine her joining the crew, not as a princess, but as a warrior. The crew doesn't yet have a female figure who brings both royalty and brutality. She'd be that. And if Robin is the mind and Nami is the practical heart, Hancock would be the untamable spirit. And it wouldn't have to be just for love. Hancock could very well realize that this is the only path left. She's seen the world from the top, and now she's watching it crumble. Maybe following Luffy is her way of rebuilding something. The internal dynamic would be one of the best parts of it all. Imagine Frankie trying to upgrade the ship with Kid, both of them wanting to add their own gadgets and cannons. Sanji, of course, trying to impress Hancock in every possible way, and getting smacked by Nami for it. Zoro and Katakuri exchanging "I want to cut you" glances. Robin and Law chatting in a corner, while Luffy naps with his mouth wide open. Chopper losing his mind over Marco's blue flames. And let's not forget Brook asking permission to play the Kuja Island anthem, while Jinbe tries to organize a serious meeting and no one listens. It's chaos, but the kind of chaos with a purpose, the kind that only Luffy knows how to turn into victory. And then we remember what this is all for. Imusama, this being we still don't fully understand, but who's already shown they don't mess around. Someone who can wipe islands off the map, who controls the puppets the world believes are kings. To go up against that, courage alone won't cut it. You need strategy, endurance, power, and faith in what you believe. The Grand Fleet already exists, but if these names join in a more permanent way, that final battle's going to feel like a saga all on its own, full of weight, emotion, and that perfect ending flavor that only Oda knows how to deliver. Maybe not all of them will join officially, but I believe that when things really hit the fan, everyone will be there. Because One Piece was never just about Luffy finding the treasure. It was about him bringing together the missing pieces of this massive puzzle we call the world. And maybe, just maybe, those pieces are exactly these characters who've crossed his path throughout the story. Whether it's Marco coming from the skies, Kid bringing thunder, Law slicing fate, Katakuri seeing the future, or Hancock stopping time with a single look. They might just be the final pieces needed to complete this ship that already carries so much. And when that ship sets sail for the final battle, you can be sure of one thing: it's going to be legendary. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.